Hello and welcome to the Hoop Troop podcast. I am Matt O'Connor, and joining me as he does on all of our shows is my cousin Luke Drobner.
What's up, guys?
And back with us again, my brother Mike O'Connor.
I'm here. What's up?
And it is deadline week, baby. And as you can tell, I'm excited for it. I'm stuttering. I can't even say the Hoop Troop podcast. Can't even get that out of my mouth. All I'm doing is salivating over basketball right now. No, so since the last time we spoke, we've had a couple things. We've had all the All-Stars get announced. Even some replacements today came out. We've had a couple trades. Seems like the season's heating up. We're getting there. It's like pretty much everything is solidifying. But this is the last push that you can make. And then there'll be the buyout season, which isn't as fun, but still. But so let's, before we jump into trade season, because that's the fun stuff, let's start with the All-Stars. All right? Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I think we talked about the starters the last time we were on here, or am I making that up entirely?
We might have taken guesses at the starters. It's been a long time.
Really? We didn't even do. All right, let me pull up then, including the starters.
Well, there was two replacements announced today.
Right.
Murray and LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I think it was the right guys. A lot of people, Matt said Jarrett Allen and who's the other one that you were upset about?
No, I think you could have made the case for Jaylen Brown and Jarrett Allen. And then obviously with DeJounte Murray getting the West, I don't really think there's anyone that you could really call a snub now. I think all right, here, I'm going to rattle off everyone who got in. All right. So out of the Western Conference, leading the charge was LeBron James. So it's going to be Team LeBron. He's one captain.
Is it still Team Kevin Durant?
It is still technically Team Durant.
So he's going to draft just he's not playing.
Yeah, I think that actually happened last year, 2 years ago. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
It happened last year, and then it was bad because like they put in a bad replacement instead of him. But so then in general, the rest of the All-Stars are Giannis, Steph, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Ja Morant, Andrew Wiggins, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Luka Doncic, Darius Garland, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, Jason Tatum, Karl Anthony Towns, Fred VanVleet. So that's all of them. I went out of order because I was looking off of just the general player pool, not because they are going to draft, so it doesn't really matter if you're East or West. I think they got most of this right. Like I really did.
Andrew Wiggins, all-star starter.
That's an issue.
I can understand the bench.
But Did you hear why Andrew Wiggins is an all-star starter?
No.
K-pop fans voted him in. Apparently there was like a K-pop singer, and I don't know who it was, and I don't know like what the outreach is. But those fans are crazy, and apparently they just made a huge K-pop push to get Wiggins into the all-star game, and it worked. It was almost like when where's Zaza from? Because Zaza got pretty much would have gotten in from the fan vote.
He's from Georgia.
I forget. Yeah, the Georgian fans voted him into the All-Star game, and then like the NBA pretty much intervened, was like, no, we're not putting Zaza in here. But Wiggins got carried by some K-pop. But that's the only and that's the only starter that I think is a little strange. Like, you know, I don't know. There's no one in the East that I think you could swap out.
I personally would have liked to see Towns in the starting lineup.
I agree. I think you switch Towns and Wiggins. And again, you can make the case for Gobert, but I know it's not as fun.
Gobert's good. He's just not exciting. And that's why he's not really an all-star.
Right. I mean, he's going to be the last one picked. Or Fred VanVleet, maybe. But Gobert is going to be the last one off the bench, would be my guess.
Mike, would you rather have Fred VanVleet or Rudy Gobert?
What was the question?
Would you rather have FVV or Rudy Gobert?
In the All-Star game. In the All-Star game.
On your team. No, sure, in the All-Star game. In general. Who would you rather have?
You're saying on your team, like on my actual team? Like, I'm a Knicks fan. Who would I rather have? Fred VanVleet or Rudy Gobert? I'm going to say Rudy Gobert.
I would say Rudy Gobert.
But like
All-Star wise,
I would definitely rather have Fred VanVleet. Also, if you factor in contracts, maybe that changes. But I don't want to get into like, I'm more talking All-Star game alone. I think if you're picking and it's the last two left on the board are Fred VanVleet and Rudy Gobert. You go Fred VanVleet. Just the way the All-Star game is played, like what Rudy Gobert is good at doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like Fred VanVleet at least is going to like walk up the court and chuck up a three. And like
You're right.
He's in the 3-point contest this year.
You don't think Rudy Gobert would walk up and chuck a three in the All-Star game?
I wish. He's been in the All-Star game a few times and he hasn't done it. Like that would make it fun.
Should.
But
would
no,
make it
like
fun.
I think the only person who I think got in and probably shouldn't have, where it's like you could technically make the case that someone was snubbed because this person got in and another one didn't, was Chris Middleton. That's where I look at it and I'm like, I think guys had better seasons than that. Both Jared Allen and Jaylen Brown. I think both did. And then obviously LaMelo got in too. I thought he also had a better season than Chris Middleton. I like Chris Middleton, but his numbers just aren't there this year. And he missed some time. I don't know. But otherwise, I think they nailed it. Like, I really don't think there's anyone else who really like should have gotten in and didn't.
I think Chris Middleton he's coming off the championship.
And they're just saying like, all right, we're rewarding you for not getting finals MVP, even though you were like,
maybe it's a reward. But if you look at the statistics this year in the East, especially,
okay,
it's like, I don't know. I think we were looking at it last game. It's like he's like on par with like Julius Randall in points and stuff like that. And it's not like Julius Randall's all that great. I guess like I saw a lot of Miami Heat people being like, oh my God, Tyler Herro. But I don't know. I think Chris Middleton edges out some of those guys because he has an NBA championship. Like, I just think the evenness of everybody after the first 10 guys in the East, it doesn't matter. They're all the same, or they're role players.
Sure, but I'm going to counter this. Jared Allen is putting up 16.2 points, 11.1 rebounds, 1.8 blocks per game, and I guess 0.7, or excuse me, I read that wrong. 1.8 assists, 1.4 blocks, 0.7 steals. I mean, he's playing great basketball. Like, there's no way around it. And his field goal percentage is super high. He's shooting 67% from the field. He's been impressive.
Isn't that Rudy Gobert logic though? Like, in terms of,
no, I'm saying as far as like getting into the All-Star game. Like, Rudy Gobert was obviously going to be an All-Star. He's been in the MVP category this year. Fortunately not active to play the Knicks tonight, but I just think, right. I guess it is subjective. And like, I get why Chris Middleton got in. He's not bad. He's not having like a bad season. Just to
piggyback off of what Luke said, it's probably like a Pippen treatment a little bit, but Scottie Pippen was probably having better seasons than Middleton. But
I mean,
he's essentially averaging 19, 5, and 5, which
I don't know. There's a winning bias. If you win championships, you win games. You have a prestige about your name, right? Like, I'm going to counter that. Much rather be I would 100% argue that Chris Middleton is making a bigger impact on his team than Jared Allen is.
Can you definitively say that with the way Cleveland has played?
I don't know. Obviously, Evan Mobley's making an impact. A rookie averaging like 16 points. Garland's been the most improved this year.
I don't know, but I would put him like right in there.
Inspired basketball.
Kevin Love, over his last 7 games, fun fact, averaging 19 points per game right now, and like shooting above 40% from 3. Kevin Love in that 6-man role the contract is
huge, but
like he's towards the end of that contract anyway, and he's playing the role well. And also, like, when you have young guys where you're not paying them that much, like, you can kind of stomach one bad contract because right now, and they're going to move off of Sexton probably.
I mean, you are talking about Jared Allen. If you look at Pascal Siakam averaging 21, 9 rebounds, 5 assists a game, that's better than Middleton.
Wow.
And like 21 points, 9 and 5 is definitely better than what Allen's doing in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And like, you could easily make the case that Siakam's the second best player on his team behind Fred VanVleet.
Sure. And I mean, yeah, I guess Siakam probably is the second best. I'm trying to think. Like,
it's not exciting. It's not sexy.
They're just a weird. The way their team plays. It's like you don't really have a star. It's just like a cohesive group. Like it's more like Because I mean,
Yeah.
even right now, I got to admit, like they're in sixth. Their season's impressive. They're 28 and
Yeah.
23. They also have like the $20 million Dragic contract on their books that they're just like sitting on. So like it's just all impressive to me. Think about if you were allocating another $20 million to actual rotation pieces.
Yeah, no, everybody keeps talking about the Raptors being big buyers at the deadline, but like I don't find that surprising just because they have Dragic's 18 million, they're not playing him, right? That's like perfect for attracting a big piece, right?
And it's
like
expiring. Yeah,
like if I could trade Goran Dragic and Gary Trent and a first for Paul George or someone of that caliber, why would I not do that if I was the Raptors? That's how they won their last championship.
Right. But that trade isn't quite there. Like I think it's going to be more like I think it's going to be more someone is going to take on that $19-20 million salary and a pick, but send like another good player back.
You think Ben Simmons would be good on the Raptors?
No. Why? Because I think they have Siakam playing a similar role that they would need Ben Simmons to play. Like I don't.
Siakam plays center at times,
but that's my point. I think you would need Ben Simmons to be doing that.
Yeah,
like, I think where Ben Simmons goes next, it's going to be to play big. It's not going to be him as a point guard, and then they're just going to have him be like this athletic big.
So play Ben Simmons at center for the Raptors.
I just don't. I don't love it, but I get it. I get what you're saying, but I don't.
Yeah.
I look at that team, and I guess now I actually do want to clarify what is
Siakam.
What is Siakam shooting right now?
I don't know, but half of Siakam's minutes come at center. Half of his minutes at center. He's shooting 35% from this year.
All right. That's his, I mean, essentially, it's like a little off his career high. He's at 2 seasons better.
Is he getting torched on the defensive end in terms of, I just can't imagine him against Steven Adams or Valanciunas.
His plus 100. Oh, yeah, no, they're definitely getting torched, but I think it's about keeping pace offensively. He's still +3 rating.
I'm also going to counter that
defense
about him getting torched. Like right now, their only like true centers on the roster are Precious Achiuwa and Kem Birch. Those are only true centers.
Would you not count Chris Boucher? He's tall.
He's listed as a power forward. So, but yes, I think they do play him at center typically. But I would say, like, again, like I don't.
They're playing small. Like, there's no doubt that the Raptors are playing small.
But they're playing small. They're playing small, but they're also playing big. Because the smallest guy in the court is Fred VanVleet, which he is. But then everyone else is like these switchable athletic wings. So like they're small, but it's like an athletic big small.
But so that's what I'm saying. So can we all here agree that Fred VanVleet is better when he's off the ball? Like if they had a Kyle Lowry and a Kawhi Leonard. If they had a Kyle Lowry and a Kawhi Leonard, do you think Fred VanVleet would benefit from that?
I would agree with that, but I do think I'm comfortable with him running an offense. Like I think he could be a good point guard.
He could do both, which is why he's an all-star.
Right.
But like if I had Ben Simmons and he could take Fred VanVleet off the ball, we can run half-court sets with Fred VanVleet off the ball because Ben Simmons is essentially now our point guard, but he's guarding the opposing team center. Why would you not do that?
I'm looking at this roster right now.
Low price. Like if you can get it for the right price, why would you not do that? And I think that's why they kind of have that Dragic contract there because like they're going to want to give Dragic some picks and the
problem is
another match for the salary.
They have to do it by Thursday because he's expiring.
100%. Yeah, right. So if they can't do it, they can't do it. He's expired. He's gone. You still had a great year.
That's what I think.
Free agent destination.
I think you have to give him up though. Like you don't just hold on to that. You get anything you can get back. He's gone after this season, no matter what. You try and dump that. And you try and maximize. You're in 6th right now, but you're in 6th. You're like, I think 4 games back from Philly in 5th, and like you have Cleveland in front of you there. As much as I like Cleveland, and like I really do, you never know how they're going to look.
Sixers.
Right. But then you never know how they're going to look to end the year. You are a half game or they're a full game ahead of Brooklyn right now.
The East is extremely tight. 9th place is 6 games back of first.
I mean, if
like
you
that,
just
there's
look at who is in the play-in the West. The last play-in spot is 21 and 33.
5. Fifth place in the West is the same distance between 9th place and 1st place in the East. 1 to
Wow.
5 West, 1 to 9 East.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's
Sorry,
loaded.
where are you going?
No. I was just gonna say, like,
It's
even
not loaded. It's bad. Everybody in the East is bad.
you think the East is bad? I would not say
Yes.
that.
Okay, we're
I
playing
think
a
anyone
7-game
can beat
series.
everyone.
We're playing a 7-game series right now. Suns versus Heat. Who wins?
I don't know that that's guaranteed.
7-game series. Bulls versus Suns. Who wins?
The Suns.
Probably the Suns.
Okay, Cavs Suns 7-game series. Who wins?
But see, you're going 1 through 3. I'm saying, like, I'm counting
Cavs are 4. I think the
Brooklyn,
Bucks can
Milwaukee, like Brooklyn, Milwaukee,
Oh,
the Heat,
100%.
the Sixers. Like, I think all 4 of them can win a championship.
Milwaukee's just chilling. The Nets are way too dysfunctional to win.
I think they can though. Like, all they have to do
Sixers
is
can't make
be
it without
healthy.
another star.
If KD
Sixers
comes back,
can't.
when KD was
Oh.
healthy, they were number 1 in the East, Luke, and like comfortably. And then
Then why are they in 7th now?
because he hasn't played. And like Kyrie
How long
is
has he been
a
out? He's
freak.
missed 9 games.
And Harden's been hurt, and Kyrie can only play sometimes. Like
I just think there's too much dysfunction there. It's the same thing as the Lakers. Do you believe the Lakers can win a championship?
I do still.
Yes. And
I'm
again,
so-
here's why. LeBron missed so much time. Anthony Davis missed so much time. All we were doing was staring at Russell Westbrook for like 40 games. And like, that is not sustainable. You can't win like that. You need LeBron and Anthony Davis. And then you bench Russ at the end of games. They've been doing it. And like,
It's
that's
so
what you're going to have
sad.
to do. But that said, on those stretches where LeBron and Anthony Davis are off the court, you let him go attack the rim.
Yeah.
It's what you're
I
going to
think
have to
you
do.
can-
And like in the playoffs, though, like LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to play an F load. Like it's
Yeah.
not. I think they
you
are
can-
still. That said, though, they need to get on the right end of the play-in or out of it, or else they could be in trouble.
Here,
like
look,
they're going to
look.
want home court.
They need home court. They need to be number 4 in the West, which is so tough because there's 17 games back.
From the 4?
No, I'm saying
No,
just
from
in the
one,
play-in
but-
alone, they need to be at least home court in the play-in.
I mean,
They need to be
Luke.
6 and above. There's
But
there's no question.
Here's
the
the thing:
Clip-
if they end up playing, I'm going to say Utah is in 4th right now. Say you end up getting to the 5. I think you beat Utah. Utah doesn't have
The
Joe
Lakers?
Ingles. Yeah, they don't have Joe Ingles. They also don't have anyone who can guard LeBron, let alone like Gobert can't really guard Anthony Davis. You don't have guys equipped to beat the Lakers.
I'll say this. I will change my attitude about the Lakers being a championship contender if they could move up out of the standings and out of the playoffs, out of the play-in. They need to be 6, 5, 4. Otherwise, there's no way they're going to make it.
2-3 games out of that 7 spot as of right now. Just I'm
2.5.
looking. Yeah. So like it's doable. Like they could
It's
jump there.
doable.
Yeah,
but
they're gonna need a little help, is the thing. They're gonna have to go on a tear.
Clippers just got better. Timberwolves are not bad. The Nuggets don't lose games really.
The Clippers did
Mavericks
just get
are hot.
better. The Clippers did just get better, but gun to
And
your
don't forget
head,
the
who's winning a game? The Clippers or the Lakers?
Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. The Clippers still aren't good. They're just like playing well right now. But like Norm Powell is going to be the best player on the court for them. With Paul George and Kawhi out, like it's going to be the Norm Powell show, which I'm going to be honest, like that team is going to end up falling in the
Don't forget Luke Kennard.
Oh, you're right. Excuse me. How could I forget about Cool Hands?
Hey, sometimes he goes off. He got that huge 4-year, $64 million.
He did.
extension
He
for a
did.
reason.
But all right. So now that we're doing this, I do think I want to transition into some trades because I think that's going to be the bread and butter of this, of like how teams can like dig themselves out of holes or like really just kind of shore themselves up to win a championship right now. We had 2 that happened, and we did just mention the Clippers trade. So I'm going to rattle this off just for anyone who doesn't know what happened. The Clippers traded Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a future 2nd-round pick. I think it was a 2025 Pistons pick or 2nd-round pick. To the Blazers for Norman Powell and Robert Covington. Basically, what that is the Clippers got better. That said, they're still like, what are they going to do this year? I think it's more just forward thinking. They have these guys under contract now who are pretty good complements to play with Kawhi and Paul George. And they insulated a little bit, and they got rid of some other bad contracts that, granted, they were going to end up expiring. Like Bledsoe was not great, but that's going to go away in, I think, 2 years. Like not this year and after next. Then, I mean, Justice Winslow is a good project. Keon Johnson, I always liked. So I did. Like, I thought it was a fair trade for both sides. I do think the Blazers kind of got fleeced a little bit.
What's the direction? If I don't see CJ McCollum or Damian Lillard move before the deadline, what is their direction?
I think you're right. I think CJ is probably going. And I think they're also being honest with themselves as well. Because again, not to get back to the standings, Portland's in 11th. So they're in that last playing spot. They're not. They're a half game out. The Pelicans actually just passed them. So Portland is a half game out of that last playing spot. Dame is hurt. And they're bad. Like, let's face it, they're not a good team right now. They're not playing for this season.
It's kind of not great when the Pelicans pass you in the standings. And the Spurs only one game back.
They're weirdly storming the Pelicans. But I mean, granted, they're not.
I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think Brandon Ingram's a bad player by any means. Yeah. And I think he's definitely not in the spotlight because he's in New Orleans.
Yes.
So, I think he deserves some of the same respect that we give like a Chris Middleton or Jimmy Butler, or I think he's just as good as some of those players. I think he's an all-star, in the right market. So
right. But here's the thing, though. I'm looking at the Blazers roster, and I think you're entirely right. There's another move coming. There's no way there's not. I think they've got to do something, and I don't think it's Dame because I think they want to give it another chance. So I think it's going to be McCollum.
Clearly, CJ.
Nurkic will probably get traded too, possibly.
I can totally
see that happening.
The two rumors are the Pelicans and the Knicks right now, but I think that just is proof that they're trying to move him.
I could say Brandon
I think
Ingram
they're listening to
for
calls.
CJ McCollum swap.
I think, I guess that's the thing. What do the Blazers want? Because what they just did in the Clippers trade is they traded off solid players, because we're saying that they're solid players when they're going to be on the Clippers, with longer term salaries for guys who are going to be expiring sooner. You kind of clear your books. What exactly is the goal? Are you trying to get younger? And are you really trying to clear your books and just like tank and be bad? Or are you trying to just take the rest of this year off, clear up your books, and try and make another run with Dame later on? If that's the case, then trading CJ, you're trying to bring in other compliments and who's going to work well with them and that sort of thing. Yeah. It's not just going to be the pick treasure trove that you could probably get if you wanted to trade McCollum to like a contending team. Teams would easily give up, first round pick ish plus for him. I would. I think he's absolutely worth that. He's only 30. His contract's not terrible. It's only, I think after this season, it's like 2 years, like I think like probably $35 million a year. So like 70 million, close to that. Not the worst.
No, I think CJ just had to move, and Dame will have to come in the offseason when things are more flexible for teams. That's the only thing I really have to say about it. But I don't know. I feel like CJ McCollum's in every rumor. He can get moved a lot of places, but I just don't feel it's something that's going to happen.
You don't?
No,
I think they have to do something. I think
they're one of these teams that just have no direction, like the Kings, who just run around in circles.
The Kings are a disaster.
I mean, Matthew, you said it, and then Luke echoed it. It's like we need to, as fans and people who watch this type of stuff, what exactly is the goal? What do they want? And we can't really answer that. I honestly don't know. I didn't really understand the trade, other than I guess they got, like you said, richer deals off of their books. But why?
Right. And I think that's what signals they are trying to do something new. And I don't think that means a total change. I think they're probably trying to keep Dame, but I think they're trying to give him different complementary pieces that might help them win better. I think him and CJ are too similar on the offensive end, where they both can play on or off ball, but they're both just offensive threats, and neither excel on the defensive end. And so having your backcourt just consist of that isn't great. So maybe you get a guard next to Dame that's going to take on a defensive load and it's more like a spot up shooter, that sort of thing. Maybe you're going to go get like a 3 or 4 that's more dynamic to play with him. Maybe you're going to get like a big center who can, isn't just like Nurkic who will just kind of clog the paint. So I don't know. Like I think that,
but the here we are talking about switching looks. What do you get for CJ McCollum that is like as good as him? Like what 1-to-1 swap are you really looking for? Like, do you think you could get like a Jaylen Brown out of the Celtics?
You would put them in the same league? I think Jaylen Brown is better.
So you would put him in the same category as like a Marcus Smart?
No, I think it's more like now I need to think of a good example. I think it's like sub all NBA talent. So
like Van Vliet.
Van Vliet is a fair comp. Like I could see that. Like CJ, like realistically, I could have seen at some point in his career somehow squeaking into an all-star game if he had like a good stint.
Fringe all-star sometimes.
He's like, he's not in that upper tier, but he's definitely a valuable piece. Like, I don't know, like Aaron Gordon. Like I just think that's like a comparable level player. Or like let me think of another one.
Wait, did you say Aaron Gordon was sub all NBA?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's an all-star.
Right, but that's my point. I'm saying like below that tier. Because usually like all NBA players are going to be all-stars. Like I was having that overlap.
There are 24 all-stars, 15 all NBA.
Yeah, all right. So all-star. I'll go all-star then. I think sub all-star.
Sub all-star.
I would say Aaron Gordon. I would say like in that range, like a Drew Holiday, like a, like guys like that.
Okay, so you trade CJ McCollum for Drew Holiday. Does your team get better?
Paired with Dame, I think that's a better 1-2 than CJ.
I just feel it's the same stuff.
It's lateral for sure. But I'm just saying comparable players.
I think the Blazers clearly want picks, like Matthew's saying. They clearly want, or at least younger and picks, and they're going to try to rebuild. And who knows, maybe those picks might go to some other trade. Like you never.
Yeah, I think it depends on the direction they're going in. And this week they're going to have to show their cards. They have to. There's no way they only do that. There's no way they only do that one trade with the Clippers and then just be like, all right, here's the roster for the rest of the year. That's going to get Dame is going to be like, I want the hell out of here because you guys aren't trying. And I know they're almost kind of waiting for him to say that because they don't want to be the ones who just like go and trade Damian Lillard. But like by doing this and then doing nothing, you're pretty much just like, that's a lazy deadline.
I can't wait to be wrong about this, but I do not think CJ won't be traded before Thursday. He's going to be traded before Thursday.
I feel like he's going to too.
Also, if we look at the Blazers and kind of see all the front office moves that have been made, not only as like trades or free agent signings or anything like that, but also like there's a huge amount of turmoil in their front office and coaching staff, right? First year head coach, Chauncey Billups, first head coaching job. What was it, their vice president of basketball operations that had to resign?
Yeah.
And then like the president themselves resigned. They bring in Danny Ainge.
No, the Jazz did. I don't even know. I forget who they brought in. But like, you're right. There's been a cloud over this team for like a good 2 years now.
Danny Ainge with Jazz. I just like, and there's so much movement around. I think I said it before, where like I think Chauncey Billups should try and quit his job. If he's trying to win championships, he should quit his job. Otherwise, he's going to get labeled as kind of like a rebuilding guy. He's going to learn how to take a team that isn't very good and he's going to work them through developing players and stuff like that. And maybe that was kind of the reasoning behind hiring Chauncey Billups. It's like former NBA player, if we don't have a great season, we just keep him on the contract he's on because he knows how to play NBA basketball. He's this all-time point guard, right? So I just don't feel, I feel they're transitioning, and I think it'll take time for CJ to move. I think it'll take time for Dame to move. I'm not sure how many more years Dame has left on his contract, but it might not be this year. It might be next year. It might be the year after. But I feel like we're going to see less and less of him. And by the time he's moved, he's not going to be Damian Lillard.
Yeah. I think that's actually a very... I think they need to make a decision and they need to make it soon. They need to be decisive, which they just haven't been. And so I think by Thursday, something shakes up. For everyone listening, we're recording this Monday, the 7th, and then the deadline is Thursday, the 10th.
Kyle Lowry got a sign-in trade to
Miami. Yep.
Miami. Yeah. It wasn't just a full-on trade.
No.
How much do you get for a 34-year-old Damian Lillard?
A lot. Because again, like
How old
he's
is
a
he
good
right now?
he's a
He's
good
31.
he's a good shooter. Like he's the type that he'll age well.
Yeah, I
The
think he could
problem
play
is
a
what his
long
contract
time.
ends up being. But yeah. Like he will age
I
well.
just,
So I don't think that's as scary. He also doesn't have like a crazy injury history. So I think he'll
did I send you guys the 530 player projections?
Oh yeah, I think when did that come out? We talked about that a while ago.
They're so neat. Let's look up Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
They tell you their 5-year market cap, right? So right now they have him listed as an all-star, and he's worth $190 million on his
right.
5-year market value, which is good, I guess. But they compare him a lot to Chauncey Billups, his most favorable score, who, like, if you look at Chauncey Billups, kind of declines after this year as he gets older. He's still good. Like, they still have him at an all-star level the next 5 years, but
I mean, an all-star level the next 5 years out of a point guard is
that's a window.
Well, the average value is an all-star. So like right this year he's an all NBA player. Next year
is he though?
Slightly worse, right? So
this year he might not make anything.
No, he's missed too much time, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
It's like when you first sign him, he's better than what you sign him as an all-star, and then at the end of it, he's like slightly worse, right? It's about the average value. So over the next 5 years, he'll be about an all-star level player. And that means kind of more like on the fringe. If you look at someone like a LeBron or someone like that, they tell you like superstar, making $1 trillion,
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, I think there's no question about it. He's going to decline. Everyone will. But like when you're on that side of 30, that's something you're thinking about when you're offering these big contracts. But all right. So the Blazers got to figure it out. Let's jump, because there's been one other big trade, and then I want to speculate a little bit after. The next one it happened yesterday. Indiana traded Karis LeVert, a 2022 second-round pick from Miami, to Cleveland for Ricky Rubio, who's an expiring contract, a lottery-protected 2022 first-round pick, a 2022 second-round pick from Houston, and a 2027 second-round pick from Utah. So 2 seconds, a first, and Ricky Rubio's expiring salary for Karis LeVert and a Miami second rounder. I think that's very fair value for Karis LeVert. If anything, like probably a little more than you really had to give up to get Karis LeVert. Like look at what Norman Powell just got. Who would you rather have, Karis LeVert or Norman Powell? I think they're very similar. Karis LeVert's contract is just smaller.
Yeah. I like
you got a first and some seconds. Like I think that's good value for both teams. Like I totally do. I think especially with the Pacers are in the dumpster right now. They're what? They have a 19-36 record. So,
I mean, this is another team like the Pacers have to think about what they're trying to do.
Oh, they're blowing it up. It's over. That experiment did not work.
100%. But
and going like they're going to trade one of the big men, so they're still
have to.
Turner or Sabonis are going to be gone by Thursday. Have to.
Yeah, I think.
And Turner's going to be a free agent this summer, so like odds are it would be him, or you commit to him long term. But
no, I would 100% trade Miles Turner
and keep Sabonis. I agree.
Yeah, because at least like Sabonis is at least scalable, and let's say I get lucky and I end up drafting the next Kobe Bryant with the 12th overall pick, I'd rather have Sabonis than Turner.
They also do, for what it's worth, like they do have some solid role players in here. And I know like they do suck. Like right now, the record is bad. But like Brogdon is very good. You have TJ McCollum, who's a solid backup point guard. I would say Justin Holiday is solid, like as a backup. Like you have these guys who are like not like Jeremy Lamb's okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I think they have enough pieces. You have Torrey Craig is okay. They have a lot of good backup players. You have a lot of good backups. You don't have a lot of good starters. And so
I think,
what do you think?
I think the Pacers could be another example of like a quicker rebuild than they thought. Like they could definitely, if lightning strikes for them in this year's draft because they're so bad and they have the top.
I mean, I could see them doing what the Raptors did.
Yeah.
You know,
like and you have a really good coach. So
just send the lottery. Pacers draft Johnny Davis at 6. Knicks get Ty Washington at 10.
I'm pretty sure that's the first point guard who comes off the board.
I think it is.
Yeah,
but I mean,
not a guard heavy draft.
And
I don't want to
jump. Yeah,
great. Go.
I will say, I think the Pacers did what they had to do. They flipped Karis LeVert for a lot of picks and the future. What does this say about? I mean, Cleveland must feel pretty good about where they are, especially if they're giving up that many future picks. I know they're second rounders, but they're not as few. Like we've been living besides LeBron, Cleveland living and dying by their draft pick, and now
Cleveland's another interesting team. I think
Cleveland's good. Like they're good.
Yeah, no, they're very good. My question is, now that you have Karis LeVert, what do you do with Colin Sexton? Is he going to trade off the bench, or you guys think you trade him?
Well, because here's the thing: they're not gonna pay him this summer. So it's either going to be a sign and trade this summer, or you trade him by the deadline.
Is he a free agent this summer? I thought he already signed an extension.
No, he is. So he's gone. Is the truth.
They should try to trade him.
Right.
They don't need him.
No, they 100% don't need him, but they have an $8 million qualifying offer they can extend to him.
Right. And I think they're going to trade him because I think the problem becomes you're going to have to pay Garland. You're ultimately going to have to pay Mobley. You do still have Kevin Love's contract on your books, plus just all your other weird stuff. Like I also think they pulled in. They got rid of Ricky Rubio's salary. Excuse me.
They did. Kevin Love's salary still is pretty big.
Rondo, Love is bad.
I don't think Rondo's not
bad.
No.
Yeah, that's not a bad salary. I think they're actually not in cap hell now that I'm looking at this.
No,
Okoro's low. Kevin Love's really the only landmine. You're gonna have to pay Markkanen some money.
I think the Cavs are just in a good place. I think by the time they're ready to actually compete, Kevin Love won't be on the books. He's got 2 years left?
But how many people can you pay like those max rookie extensions to? Because you're going to do it. You're going to do it. As long
as you have the rights to them, you can pay them as much as you want.
Yeah, the bird rights.
And if you go over if you have to go over the
how likely is Cleveland to do that though?
I think they could. I think they did it with LeBron.
But that's so different. It's LeBron James.
Not really. I think they're getting a lot of attention. I feel like I see them all the time on the internet. I feel like they get coverage on ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, I do think they're
Garland. I think
you're going to have to jerseys. Jared Allen's contract is big. Who am I kidding? He just got 4 years, $100 million or whatever. That adds up. If you pay enough guys that type of money.
I think LeBron changed the market in Cleveland, and I think they're happy to go over the tax.
We'll see. But that said, I still don't think they bring back Sexton. I think you have too many other guys they're going to have to give some money to. It just wouldn't work out financially.
I don't think
you don't know what he's going to look like after the injury. Because he was just athletic.
Yeah, I know he was, but I don't think they're going to pay. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to pay Sexton, but you might as well extend the qualifying offer and see what the market sets for him. You can trade him later. I think you should hold on to him. I think he's a great option at the sixth man role for the right price. I think he's I'd put him in the same category as a De'Aaron Fox, where I wouldn't necessarily want De'Aaron Fox to be the best player on my team, but I'd 100% let him run my bench unit without a doubt.
But he's
going to give you 19 off the bench.
That's not what he's going to do, though. He's going to make more money than that. He's going to be a starting point guard. Both of them are.
And yeah, Colin Sexton is not. I don't get the vibe that he's the type of person that would ever want to do that or accept that.
I mean, either would Fox.
I remember. Both
guys are top 5 picks, right? What did Sexton get picked?
I don't know, 6, 5,
something like that.
I agree with you. I think, I don't think De'Aaron Fox will ever call him off the bench for anybody. I don't think Colin Sexton will either. But if you can force him to play that role and hope that he either develops into it or you get an offer for him, why not pull the trigger? almost like a Dennis Schroeder. I think that's like a very career projection kind of like value guy.
But I don't
think Schroeder
think
wants
I
to
think
start
you're gonna have to
somewhere.
pay. You're gonna have to pay more than that. That's the problem.
Like
You're gonna have to
even
treat these younger guys almost like you almost have
100%.
to
Look at
equate
Jalen
them.
Brunson. The Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is going to get $18 million a year.
Or yeah, 18 to I'd say somewhere in the 18 to 22 range would be my guess for him.
That's what I mean, and that's outrageous. I don't think he's going to be a starting point guard somewhere.
Though
I think he's going to come off the
point
bench.
out he did, or excuse me, the NBA did just see for next season a $2 million increase in the cap projection, which doesn't seem significant, but like that adds up. And if like say just each year from we keep projecting out, the salary cap keeps going up a little bit. The contracts that you're signing now, like these $20 million ones, like aren't huge
Some of them
anymore.
are huge.
They're not huge anymore. If you think about some of these contracts, like people are going to be making like $60 million in 5 years.
Yeah, I think you sent a post at some point during the week. It was like, I think it was the Harden Supermax, and it was like $280 million or something like that over 5 years. I was like, that's ridiculous.
He has a few different options that he can sign, and I'll try and scroll and see if I can find that tweet again. But there are like several different options that he can do. And they're in no, like even the best. I'm going to say the best as in the most team friendly is not good because he's just kind of declining anyway, and like he's shown he's not disciplined.
Like, Harden doesn't want the. He's like, I feel like there's so many weird reports coming out of Brooklyn. It's like James Harden not in the like the 1 second it's like Steve Nash, we're not training him. The next second it's like Nets aren't sure if Harden is communicating with the Sixers right now, and like we think he wants to be gone. Like,
right,
Nets open to trading him. I
found the different contract options. So say he re-signs with Brooklyn and it's like a 5-year max. He can make like basically $270 million. So in the last year, 2026, 2027, he would be making $61 million. If he does a sign and trade with Philly, he can only make $200 million, and he's only making $53 in that second to last year, the 25-26 year. If he doesn't opt in and trade, he can make $62.5 million in that 2026-2027 year. That is a massive contract. But ridiculous. Again, going back to these other guys, I don't think paying guys somewhere in the $20 million range is going to be as significant when we look down the line. I think things are about to take a jump, and that's not going to feel as consequential as we're making it out to feel. It's my guess. I don't think it's going to be like Chandler Parsons signing a big contract. I don't think it's going to feel like that. Or Joakim Noah or all these bad guys.
I think, Chandler Parsons and the Joakim Noahs and people like that, I think got signed at the wrong time by some of these teams where they had expected the cap to continue to rise and it didn't. So
I mean, it was that huge bubble. Yeah. It just everything blew up for that one summer. And
like, it's crazy to think that we're comparing James Harden to Chandler Parsons because I think it's proven that James Harden is a much better player than that. But
yeah, no, I'm talking contracts. I'm more saying like a Jalen Brunson making $20 million. That's more what I'm saying. Like, that's not like a bad contract in my eyes. I think that's going to be movable. Like, I don't think that's something to be like that afraid of. I obviously think it's high. I agree with you. Brunson is probably like worth a little less, but that said, I think like our logic of like, he's probably worth like 16 million. I think we're slowly shifting that number up just on the average contract where like, I think it does scale with the salary cap moving up. It's like, I actually think it's going to be okay. Like, I think
so with his,
but a Sexton, you're going to have to pay. Sexton's going to end up making like near max money.
I think Sexton should make. Yeah, no, I think he will too. I think he's going to get that someone will give it to him. Yes.
Right. So that's why I think they're going to trade him to a team that'll extend him.
538 is 538 projects Jalen Brunson at $63 million over 5 years.
Over 5.
12 million.
Which is a little more than 12. And that's with last year's data. Obviously, he has had a much improved season.
Right.
Great time to get signed. But I don't want to point fingers. I want to say here that I'm a friend wearing my RJ Barrett jersey. You look at Julius Randle in a contract year, playing unreal, comes back. He's had attitude issues. He's not getting along with staff. He's not getting along with the fans. I know Matt could go all day about this.
I could, but here's my counter. His incentives now are not built into his contract because they're now unlikely incentives because he's not all NBA, he's not an all-star. So that what was built into his cap hit is now not. And you're about to see the salary cap jump up. So it's actually an easier contract to move than you thought. So again, like he's making in the 20 to 30 million range, but it's movable. Like these contracts are not as much of landmines as they used to be. Like I think that these are all
landmines. Don't get me wrong, but who wants Julius Randle?
Nah. I mean,
people would. You're buying low though, is the thing, and I think that's why the Knicks aren't immediately selling.
I also think there are glimpses of like why not just see this through with him if he can figure it out?
Because you have 4 more years after this year, but yeah.
For now, every year gets a little bit easier to move him.
Okay, he's making 23, 25, 27, 29 on a player option.
That's not bad, and I'll die on that hill.
It's not great, but
it's not here's bad. The thing,
it's not an albatross.
All right, but if someone's trading for him to think about what the return was for Aaron Gordon. What's Aaron Gordon's contract right now? Does anyone have that on the fly? I feel like Luke, I can trust you to get that up.
Got you.
Think about the haul to get Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets.
Aaron Gordon's got 16, 19, 21, 22, 22 player option.
But who is better?
Randall's better. Aaron Gordon makes more sense if he's your 4th option.
Right, but I'm saying you're not trading for Randall to be a 4th option. And think about the return they got for Aaron Gordon. No, I think Randall's like a 2 or a 3 in the right system.
Fair enough. In the right system.
And when he's motivated.
He should be a 3. He should be a 3rd option.
Fine. But right now he's not. Right now he's not. They put it like the Knicks assembled a team that isn't really complimenting him to his strengths right now. And he's kind of pissed that he has to share the ball with other people is kind of the sense I'm getting. So I don't know who's going to trade for him. But
Jeremy Grant's got $20 million for the next 2 years.
Yeah. Jeremy Grant, I could see getting moved. But I was just listening to a report that apparently the Pistons are comfortable. I think it was Woj was talking about this, saying that the Pistons are comfortable holding on to Jeremy Grant into the offseason. They don't have to move him just to move him. If the right offer comes along, they absolutely would, but they're not forcing it. They have a ton of cap space this summer and can do a trade to pull in salary and whatever. So they're just going to wait.
What Jeremy Grant wants.
Right. So I think they're
just Jeremy Grant want out or does
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard it either.
I've heard the apprehension. I've heard the apprehension for people trading for Jeremy Grant isn't so much that they're going to have to give up stuff. It's that he wants a big role, and you're not going to guarantee that.
I think Jeremy Grant's a team player.
I don't know. He wanted out of the Nuggets because of that.
But how old is Jeremy Grant?
28, 9, 28.
He is 27.
27.
So when he left Denver, he was 26, probably entering his prime. I think it's a good year to sign a sizable contract. A sizable contract at 26 for a bigger role, and kind of let's say he ended up being really great for the Pistons. I think he would he gets another big contract somewhere else. Otherwise, he'll sign somewhere as a free agent somewhere, and he'll accept the fact that he's a 4th role, but at least he got his max value. He's not going to get underpaid now.
I think it's all about him having the ball in his hands.
He's gotten his looks. He understands it's about the next contract. I think he does. We'll find out when he becomes a free agent.
No, but I think that's why teams are afraid to go get him, is because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to say look, we need you to kind of do what you did on the Nuggets, which is realistically why people are trading for him, to do a little more than he did on the Nuggets, but not much.
Right, but let's say instead of the 4th option on the Nuggets, he's the 3rd option on the Miami Heat, and he gets paid $5 million more a year.
But think about the Heat system.
Him.
I just don't think
I'm not
he's
saying
not
it'll be the same Heat team. Yes. It's just a metaphor, right? I'm just
I know
his because he left Denver and allowed teams to get a look at him, there's a huge sample size
Yes.
of Jeremy Grant being the number one guy basketball. There's a huge sample size for that. People know exactly what they can give him. He's going to get paid the right amount for how good he is, and he might move up on the totem pole.
I saw that Brooklyn was interested in him. I don't know what they could give up, but
I think any team should be. Like,
I think every team should
really
be
good.
He plays defense. He shoots threes.
But I do agree. I think it's a problem. I think it's the same thing with Colin Sexton. Like, I think Colin Sexton and Jeremy Grant are assuming that they're going to be very much the people wherever they go, which makes no sense.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard looking at Sexton because you just have no idea what he's going to look like when he gets back from the injury.
But at least Jeremy Grant, you have a sense.
Right. Exactly. All right. We've been on for a while. So I am going to, I want to ask if we could get a big trade by Thursday, what would you want? If you had one in your mind that you want to see happen?
I would like the Nets to blow up. I would like to see Harden get traded for Simmons. It's not going to happen. So look, I'm trying to think outside of that.
Well, I kind of want to stay on that for a second. How does that get done?
It won't. It's not going to. But
you don't think Simmons and like a shooter gets it done?
Seth Curry.
I saw that, but
like
I don't think I would want to give that up for James Harden. We just looked at how much you're going to have to pay James Harden. Like, I don't want to give up Seth Curry to do that. I'm already giving you a young Ben Simmons who is like shown he can be a defensive player of the year.
I don't see the Nets' incentive to do it before the deadline anyway, because you just do it in the offseason for the same.
You would have to sign and trade. There's a chance he just walks because he's unrestricted. That's where it gets interesting. It's always hard to just like sign guys to those fat contracts. Like usually that's why it leads to a sign and trade, but I don't know. I could totally see it happening before the deadline because I think it makes both teams better.
I think if we saw James Harden out in Italy with Lil Baby and he was fat, I'd be like, he's gone.
Yeah.
But I don't know what type of shape he's in. So
I mean, he's not playing right now. Like he's
not
saying he's hurt. All these reports coming out that he's
shape.
super frustrated. Like, I just think that there's a lot going on. I think there's a lot going on, and I don't think he'll get traded. I will preface it by saying that. I do think where there's smoke, there's fire with him. We've seen it enough. You know, he wasn't happy with Chris Paul. Chris Paul got traded. Wasn't happy with Westbrook. They both get out of there.
James Harden's an MVP candidate. He's allowed to be a little bit of a diva here. Mike, what is your trade? We never got back to what you think is going to happen.
So I would like to see that. It's not going to. I mean, I don't want to talk about the Knicks really, but I would like to see Kemba get moved for something. I know it's not an exciting one, but I'd like to see Kemba get moved from the Knicks for a pick or something.
I would like to see that. So I'm actually on board with that. I saw a report that apparently teams are not willing to give up more than like a future second for him. And frankly, I don't blame them. That said, though, I do think Kemba, like on the right team, can thrive as like a 6-man, like on the right team, not this Knicks team. The Knicks have too many guards who like can be that spark plug. So he just doesn't really fit. And he's not like a true, like, I don't know, pass first point guard that you need alongside RJ and Randall, like that sort of thing. So I don't think it's with this team. I do think it could be with someone else. So what?
I want to go with my, I found out the trade I want to see happen.
Okay.
I want to see the Dallas Mavericks trade Kristaps Porzingis to the New Orleans Pelicans for Brandon Ingram.
I don't think that's a fair trade. I don't think the Pelicans do that.
Jalen Brunson and Porzingis for Ingram.
Oh, that makes it a little better, actually.
And you get some stuff back from
Kristaps next to Zion would be interesting because he would have Zion just inside, and Kristaps could finally just like run around and just play the perimeter and not have to be in the paint. It would be a very interesting. It would almost be like you're playing Kristaps at the 4 and Zion at the 5, theoretically. It's an interesting combination.
I think you start Zion, Valanciunas, and Porzingis because Porzingis can play 3, like Lauri Markkanen.
You're gonna play Porzingis at the 3? I think that is a bad idea.
Nope.
I would never. I think Markkanen is Markkanen's more athletic.
If the guy's too athletic for Porzingis, I put Zion on him. if the guy's too tall for Zion, I put Porzingis on him.
But then who's playing the 5? Oh, Valanciunas is playing the 5.
Valanciunas.
That is a disaster waiting to happen. I think I'm out on this. I think I'm out.
But think about the Mavericks and how good they get.
You just want the best for Luka, which I do too.
I still think the Mavericks will be active potentially, but I don't think
that's could be.
I don't think that's
not. That'll never happen.
A theoretical trade that I've thought about. This isn't the one that I want to see happen, but I have thought about. I'm like, it actually might work for both teams. Is just a Randall Kristaps swap, and I don't like it. I know it would be impossible to do. Randall goes home. He would be good with Luka, the two of them together.
Why are we even talking?
I know. I hate the idea of it, but it's crossed my mind, and I'm like,
that would be torture for Luka. I would never do that.
No, but Randall, like in the right circumstance, would play well, and he's home. He's from Dallas. Like, I actually think it would make sense there. And you have a guy who actually plays games, and Kristaps, instead of missing, Kristaps missed what, like 20 to 30 games this year? Like, yikes.
I trust the two of you as very sage basketball minds, but your last two.
No, these are heat checks. The one that I do want to see, the one that I do want to see is actually, and I know you guys said you don't want the Pacers to trade him. I want to see Sabonis go to the Wizards to play with Bradley Beal. I think that would be a very good pairing. And if you're trying to show Bradley Beal that, we're committed to you, we want to keep you here, we want to build around you. I think that's one of the smarter moves that they can make. And
trade Beal.
But the Wizards have like a few bigs that they could shell out and young players they could give to the Pacers in return. And I think then you go this offseason, you pay Bradley Beal, you keep these two together, and then you go from there. I mean, Sabonis is only 25. He's been an all-star. He's good.
Trade Beal for the max haul and try and rebuild where you try and develop Rui Hashimura and Kyle Kuzma into being high-level starters. Not all-stars, but high-level starters. Because they both can. They're both big. They're both athletic. They both can shoot. If they're committed to playing defense, they could be really great next to an all-star type player at a shooting guard spot.
I think if you were to do what I said, and then eventually, I think I think that's an intriguing enough pairing that if it is working, you could convince someone to come join them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's smart, and I like that. Or if that doesn't seem like it's going to work, I think maybe you sell it all.
But that's my point. Like, you're going to be able to sell it anyway. Like, you're going to be able to trade Beal and Sabonis. People will want them. People want them now. Like, that's not going to be a hard thing to break up.
Yeah. I think that
if it doesn't work.
I just want to remind you that Montrezl Harrell was an MVP candidate at the beginning of the year.
And that is no longer the case. to put it politely, that is no longer the case.
All I'm saying is that they don't need Beal and they should trade him.
But I don't agree with that unless you're going into a full-blown rebuild, which I don't know that you are. Well, you would have to if you're getting rid of him.
Yeah,
I also think they need to get rid of Dinwiddie because that has not really panned out.
That has not been great.
But maybe the Pacers take him on just to offset salary with Sabonis or something. I don't know. And then the Wizards throw picks. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But that's my thought.
You want to know what I want to see at this deadline? I want someone who is underrated to get traded, and then I just want him to absolutely pop off on his new team, go for 30 a game for 35 games. That's what I want to see. The
Julius Randle for De'Aaron Fox swap that I've seen rumored, and then De'Aaron Fox becomes an absolute king.
I liked that for a couple days, and then I got over it.
No, I'm over it. I think as bad as Randall is, you can't sell him that low.
I just don't think De'Aaron Fox in any way would scale well.
No,
he wouldn't. He's I was listening to a Knicks podcast where they were talking about him, and it was some stat about pull up 3-pointers in transition. Yeah. And of players who have taken I'm going to say 100, 100 pull up 3-pointers or something like that this year, he ranks dead last. He's just not a good 3-point shooter.
It would have been
shooting 25% from three.
It's hot.
It would have been
next to RJ, that's a disaster. That's just not what you need. So I agree, it's not a good fit. But I do think the Kings need to trade him. if they are committing to going in that direction where they're gonna build around Halliburton and Davion Mitchell, and like maybe get rid of Buddy Hield too. Like I think you get rid of some of those other pieces and you commit to this younger timeline. Yeah, I could see them trading stuff. I could see, any combination of those guys, Marvin Bagley, Harrison Barnes. Like I could see all of them getting traded. I think the Kings they're gonna have to do something. They just fired their coach this year. Like they're gonna try and make some sort of change.
Will they do something though?
You're right. The Kings are just always floundering, and
Harrison Barnes is great. I know Mike agrees with me. I think Harrison Barnes could be a all NBA type player and lead us to a championship.
You're joking, right?
Yes.
You're joking. Harrison Barnes got his max deal. Good for him. But yikes. He's good though. I think he's good. Not for the money he's making, but he's good. And so that's why I think someone trading for him. Is he not expiring? Am I making that up? Or he might have like another year on his deal. He might have another year. But that's not bad. I would take a player like that. Like I don't think he's like a bad get.
He makes less money next year than he does this year. He's making 20 million this year, 18 next year.
That's honestly, I think, fair. And I think that's like a good role player. 100%. And he has that big frame. I think he's a good fit. And he's a solid shooter.
6'8", 225, shooting 41% from three.
Yeah. I would absolutely be tempted if I'm a team that's like, trying to see if they can like prey on the Kings, just like being forced to make some sort of roster shakeup to try and steal him away. I think he's a good fit on a lot of teams.
Dennis Schroeder will get traded to.
I think Schroeder is going to get traded.
The Lakers.
No way. There's no way there's a reunion there. I could see
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's intriguing, and I think I saw that rumored. I think I saw the Timberwolves too were interested. Him as a backup, or he could start or something, just as like a spark plug. I don't know.
I think Jalen Noel is pretty solid.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying like things I think I saw linked. Another one, and not that I just like have only been fixated on Sabonis. It's just that ever since yesterday, like I just know that the Pacers are going to do something else. If the Suns could somehow find a way to get Sabonis on their roster, I would love it.
But it's almost like you have like this historic Suns team that's winning more than any Suns team ever has. Why are you rocking the boat? Like I guess you have to decide if it's worth it. Because
that would make them, depending on what you give up, that could make you better, and likely would. The problem is I don't
with Mike here. No reason to do it. Look at the Lakers, and they're like, oh, the roster last year is not good enough to win this year. And they trade a bunch of people, and then it gets worse. And they're like, oh, we have to make more changes because the roster this year wasn't as good as it was last year. And they do that again. And just stick with what you have.
Yeah.
I think DeAndre Ayton works really well for them.
But I think you would play Sabonis at the 4.
And give up the defense that Jake Crowder gives. And then it's like, oh, but
does Jay Crowder start at the 4 for them, and then Cam Johnson comes off the bench?
Part of me thinks you have a recipe that's working, and
you don't mess with it.
That's why I think the Suns will be pretty quiet. I don't know, but I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I think it would be exciting, but
Speaking of the Suns, they're on right now on NBA TV. Did you know that?
Are they?
No, I'm gonna go.
Devin Booker has 10 points.
Nice. Oh, did it just start?
2 minutes to go in the first.
Nice. Solid. Oh, they're playing the Bulls. It's actually a good game.
Great game.
What are we looking at tonight? We got a couple good games tonight.
Knicks Utah at 6. 6 my time, 9 your time.
Yeah, 9 my time. I'm staying up for that like a loser.
This is the only nationally televised one.
Yeah.
Suns Wolves. Not a complaint. Just saying, wish there was a second game on after that.
Also, I was gonna say Toronto Charlotte was a good game, but it's it's a 14-point game right now. Toronto's winning.
You never know if
they could come back.
All-star LaMelo Ball sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad Lonzo didn't make it first, but
no, I mean LaMelo is just so flashy. Like as good as Lonzo is, Lonzo's just way more like he's like a mild salsa, and like he's good, and like you really like it. You can trust on him, but exactly. LaMelo is the one that, right?
It's like an amazing mango salsa. That's LaMelo.
Right, exactly.
I think the best LaMelo Ball tweet I've seen all year was I think it was the NBA on TNT people. They're like, so what player do you model your game after? And he was like, myself.
Honestly, I like that answer. I do like the
answer. He said myself, and I laughed, and then he followed it up with like a very intelligent, like, I just try and be myself and play the game that I think is going to help my team win, blah, blah. I just thought it was funny.
I like this new wave of NBA players. Like, I feel like this younger generation has been, I don't know if I'm going to say in the public eye, but they've always had like a phone or camera or something on them pretty much their whole life now. And like social media and like everything they do has kind of been monitored, unlike previous generations.
I think LaMelo knows how to work media.
They are handling themselves like, and it's like, look at Anthony Edwards in these interviews. Like, he does so well. Like, so many of these guys like thrive in front of these cameras now. And like, they don't need these like scripted agent given answers for everything. And I kind of like it. Like, I think it's like a fun new addition to the NBA. Like, look at Ja. I feel like Ja does a good job with it. Like, there's so many of these guys who are, there's
just a lot of swaggy guys in the league.
I don't know what's causing it, but I like it. It's fun. Like, I feel like we haven't really had a lot of these guys just kind of shoot from the hip in these interviews. And it's nice. Not to derail the conversation with that, but that's just something I've picked up on lately.
All right. I want to go watch the rest of the Suns game.
All righty, team.
Perfect.
All right. So this is the Hoop Troop podcast. Thank you guys for joining. We will, I think we're recording next Monday. So we'll give you guys all the scoop on what happened this week with the trade deadline. So tune in next week.